Assalamu alaikum and good greetings. So today we'll be watching a video by Bobby's Perspective titled Shaykh Uthman explains Hadith science to Bobby's perspective in 5 minutes. In bracket, will I accept? Question mark. So I think this is like a conversation that they have. I'm not sure whether this is before or after the Shahada. And Shaykh Uthman will be explaining something about the science of Hadith. Without further ado, let's watch.
So, Hadith sciences are very accurate. People don't realize the hard work the scholars of Hadith have put in grading and classifying Hadith. Hadith are not just judged with Sahih and Da'if, there's a lot more to it. I don't have time to get in depth, but I'll give you guys a playlist on the Majdaribad channel. It's called the Science of Hadith, Grading Hadith Made Easy. But one thing I'll just explain, for a Hadith to be considered Sahih, which is authentic, there are 5 conditions. Okay? So for a hadith to be considered sahih, it has to meet at minimum 5 conditions. Okay? One of them, the chain has to be connected. Right? It's called ittisal sanad. So that means from the Prophet ﷺ till when it's written, there can be no breaks in the chain. For example, look at the Bible. There is no chain connecting Jesus or disciples to where the manuscripts were written. They're all anonymous authors. But that would never be acceptable in Hadith. Meaning each narrator, who was it that heard from each one, we have to know who they are. The chain has to have no breaks. If it has a break, even if we don't know who the narrator is, just we have a name but we don't know, that's called majhul, that's a weak narration. Then each narrator has to have solid or good memory. So this is something that makes Hadith sciences unique, because in history we don't check that. Like when we talk about Alexander or Julius Caesar, even if we look at the first-hand reporters, we don't check their memory. Then you have to have good moral character, right? Which is called adl. So again, Western historians, even if you look in the scientific industry, when we do a clinical trial, the people that are involved, we don't check their moral character. We don't care if they're drunks or liars or gamblers. We don't check if they lie regularly. But hadith, we check. Anybody that was even accused of lying, that would be a fabricated hadith. Even an accusation would not make it matrub. If it's established that they ever lied, they would become mawdu'. So the hadith judging is so accurate, but that's not it. Chain is connected, good memory, good moral character, then we have to make sure there's no contradictions. If there is something stronger that contradicts it, it's called shadh. Then we don't accept it as sahih. So if there is a hadith that mentions something or an ayah in the Quran, and then a hadith comes something contradictory to it, it could never be sahih. This is a very deep research done to make sure that we have what's mahfuz, what's protected. On top of that, there can be no textual defects. Meaning that if there is a grammatical error, if there is a word that's been flipped, that could never be sahih. So Imam Bukhari and Muslim, they have even more, right? To reach mutawatir, that's even more difficult. But even the base Sahih Hadith has to go through these 5 conditions at minimum. So if there is ever a chain with a break, it could not be Sahih. Most history we have today doesn't have a connected chain. So that means even if you took most of the history you believe in, it would not reach the level of Sahih. Everybody has to have a good memory. Even they're very good people, but they made mistakes, they flipped words, maybe they had some dementia at a time of their age, we cannot accept their hadith. Everybody has a good moral
Cannot accept as sahih, right? To put in context.
Moral character for them, not just lying. Even if you didn't make salah in the masjid, even if you ate with your left hand, they would take you out of being not reliable in hadith. Cannot be contradicted. People say hadith contradict the Quran, it cannot be. It's one of the preconditions. And if there is any grammatical, even if a word is slipped, a letter is slipped, then it would be considered to be weak. Now, if this criterion is met, whether that supports your political views or not, whether that supports your madhab, your fiqh views or not, you have to accept it. And if these are not met, you have to reject it, even if it supports your point. And that's why, when we were discussing earlier, people's biases cannot affect hadith because the science is neutral. So if you look at the scholars of hadith, it doesn't matter what madhab they are. Imam Bukhari, for example, Abu Dawud being Hanbali, Ibn Hajar al-Dhahabi being Shafi'i, Tahawi being Hanafi, Ibn Abdul Bar being Maliki, never affected their hadith work. Their fiqh is different. Why? Because in hadith we have a science that does not allow biases to play a place. You will have hadith that are pro-Amawiya and pro-Abbasiyya in the same book. The Rafidah, they will take what they like, but not the Ahlul Sunnah. We have a criterion that goes through. This is a brief introduction, inshallah, to a science that I love. Inshallah, you can follow up on more, inshallah.
Alright, so yeah, there's no commentary from Bobby's perspective here. I think he just recording it. I'm assuming it's him that's recording this. Yeah, so that's. Will I accept? Because so I was waiting for that, right? Because normally he have, Bobby have his perspective on things when he listen to it. So I'm interested in that actually. But in this video, it's just left hanging there. I'm not sure whether it satisfy his question or something. Well, then I can comment further then. Thank you for watching. See you next time.